Gather close to the fire. Feel the warmth on your face. The shadows behind you stretching long and restless. Tonight, I want to tell you about places you should never visit. Towns that were once alive with laughter, markets, festivals, and families, but now stand silent, abandoned, and cursed. These are not the inventions of horror films, these towns are real. You can find them on maps, though I wouldn't recommend you set foot in them. For some places aren't simply forgotten, they are forsaken. Let me take you on a journey across the world. To 4 towns that time has abandoned but whispers have not. Kuldhara in India, Centralia in America, Pripyat in Ukraine, and Nagoro in Japan. 4 cursed towns. 4 places that remind us that sometimes the living leave, but the dead remain. Kuldhara, India. The desert of Rajasthan is a place of blistering heat, golden sands, and shifting mirages. But if you ride out far enough, past the dunes and the camels, you'll find the ruins of Kuldhara. Rows of crumbling stone houses, empty streets, and silence heavier than the desert air. Legend says that centuries ago, Kuldhara was home to a prosperous community of the Paliwal Brahmins. They were skilled farmers and traders, known for their clever irrigation techniques that turned the desert into fertile land. For a time, Kuldhara thrived, but in the early 1800s, a shadow fell over the village. The local ruler, a man named Salim Singh, cast his eyes on the daughter of the village chief. He demanded she be given to him. When the villagers refused, he threatened to take her by force. That night, under a waning moon, every man, woman, and child of Kuldhara vanished. They left behind food still cooking, water still drawn, beds still warm. It was as if the desert itself had swallowed them whole. No one ever saw the villagers again. Some say they fled into the night. Others say they invoked a curse. Before leaving, they damned the land itself, declaring that no one would ever live in Kuldhara again. And that curse seems to hold true. For over 2 centuries, no one has been able to settle there. Those who tried spoke of strange voices echoing from the empty houses, of footsteps trailing behind them though no one was there. Travelers say they see shadowy figures moving between the ruins at dusk. A few claim they've heard the faint sound of weeping women carried on the desert winds. Even now, locals warn against staying the night in Kuldhara. The silence is oppressive, the air unnaturally cold, and those who dare sleep in the ruins often leave before dawn, shaken, whispering that something unseen had watched them from the darkness. Centralia, Pennsylvania, USA. Now, let us cross the world to the rolling hills of Pennsylvania, where coal once fueled entire communities. In the early 1900s, Centralia was a bustling mining town. Families filled its homes, children played in its streets, and the mines below kept everyone employed. Life was good, until the fire came. In 1962, an underground coal seam caught fire. Some say it began with trash burned in an open pit. Others claim a spark ignited gas deep in the mine. However it began, the fire found its way into the veins of coal beneath the town. And once coal burns, it does not stop. The flames spread unseen, beneath the ground. At first, no one noticed, but then the streets cracked open, releasing smoke and heat. Carbon monoxide seeped from the earth. Yards collapsed into smoldering pits. The fire was alive, and it was hungry. The government urged residents to leave. Over the years, one by one, families abandoned their homes. By the 1980s, Centralia was nearly empty. Today, only a handful of stubborn souls remain, living in a place where the ground itself is cursed. The fire still burns beneath Centralia, and it is expected to burn for another 200 years. Visitors to Centralia describe eerie scenes. Smoke rising from cracks in the road, the faint smell of sulfur in the air, and silence that feels suffocating. Some say if you listen closely, you can hear distant whispers in the smoke, as if the miners who died in accidents long ago are still trapped down there, calling for help. And then there are the shadows. Travelers walking the abandoned streets report seeing figures in the fog, dark human shapes that vanish when approached. Whether they are tricks of the smoke or something darker, no one knows. But one thing is certain. Centralia is no longer a town. It is a graveyard that burns from beneath. And it will never rest. Pripyat, Ukraine. From the deserts of India and the coalfields of America, we journey to Europe, to one of the most infamous ghost cities in the world. Pripyat, Ukraine. Once, it was a thriving city built to house workers of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. It had schools, shops, theaters, even an amusement park with a shining yellow Ferris wheel that promised joy to generations. But in April 1986, the unthinkable happened. Reactor 4 at Chernobyl exploded, releasing deadly radiation into the air. Pripyat's 50,000 residents were evacuated within days, leaving behind everything they owned. The city was frozen in time, abandoned, contaminated, silent. Walk through Pripyat today, and you'll see rusted playgrounds, classrooms still littered with children's books, dolls lying in the dust, apartment windows gape like empty eyes. The Ferris wheel still stands, unmoving, a symbol of joy that never was. But Pripyat is not just abandoned. It is haunted. Soldiers and cleanup workers spoke of shadowy figures glimpsed in the irradiated mist, of disembodied voices echoing through empty streets. Some claimed to hear children's laughter coming from the schools, long after the last child had left. Others reported seeing lights flickering in buildings that had no electricity. Folklore whispers of the Black Bird of Chernobyl, a winged figure said to have been seen above the plant before the explosion. Those who saw it reportedly suffered nightmares, hallucinations, or worse. To this day, urban explorers who sneak into Pripyat tell of strange encounters. Geiger counters spiking in abandoned rooms, camera batteries draining in seconds, or an overwhelming sense of being watched by unseen eyes. Pripyat is a city trapped in time, cursed by mankind's greatest mistake, and perhaps by something darker that thrives in silence and sorrow. Nagoro, Japan. Our final stop takes us east, to the valleys of Japan, where lies the village of Nagoro. At first glance, it looks quaint, with its winding paths and small houses. But step closer, and you'll realize something is wrong. The people you see are not people at all. They are dolls. Life in Nagoro dwindled as younger generations left for the cities. The population shrank until only a handful of elderly remained. One woman, Tsukimi Ayano, began making dolls to replace those who had passed or moved away. She placed them where the living once stood. Men working in fields, children sitting in classrooms, villagers waiting at the bus stop. Now, there are over 400 dolls in Nagoro, far more than the number of living people. Each doll is dressed, posed, and eerily lifelike. Some smile, some frown, some stare blankly into the distance. Visitors describe the unsettling silence of Nagoro, broken only by the wind moving through the dolls' clothes. Some swear that the dolls shift when no one is watching, their heads turning, their eyes following. At night, villagers whisper of hearing soft footsteps outside their doors, only to open them and find a doll facing their home, where none had been before. Locals tell darker tales. They say the dolls hold the souls of those who once lived there, trapped in cloth and straw. Others claim the dolls whisper to each other at night, their wooden mouths creaking with secrets the living should never hear. Nagoro is not abandoned. It is filled with faces. Faces that never blink, never breathe, yet somehow feel alive. And so, the fire burns low, the night deepens, and we are left with 4 cursed towns. Kuldhara, where the villagers vanished overnight, leaving only their curse. Centralia, where fire eats the earth itself. Pripyat, where silence echoes louder than screams, and Nagoro, where the dead are replaced, one doll at a time. These places are real. You could go there tomorrow, if you dare. But remember, some towns aren't forgotten because no one remembers them. They're forgotten because something remembers them too well, and it doesn't want to let go. So if you ever find yourself wandering through ruins,